Hello friends, I am Dessa. This is a very special video for me, and it won't have the same tone as my previous ones. I want to talk about a manga that's very special to me, one that doesn't get enough recognition in the Spanish-speaking community or online in general. Maybe people don't recognize it because it's a webcomic, but have you seen it? If so, let me know. I think it's one of the most beautiful webcomic works I've ever seen this decade. A comic that really helped me with my depression, and the artistic genius of its author is only matched by her talent as a writer. With the start of the holiday season and a new arc in the manga, Little Nuns, I want to talk about the best manga you haven't read. Little Nuns is a webcomic manga created by Diva, a Japanese artist about whom little is known, and honestly you don't need to know more. What we do know is that she's very kind, radiant, and just like her work. I'll refer to Diva as female, even though her gender isn't confirmed and she hasn't revealed her face, which is common amongst Japanese mangaka who tend to keep their details private. Her Twitter account says she lives in Tokyo, while her website, where you can read the manga for free, jokingly says she's a duck living in the duck pond. You can also read it on her Twitter or Instagram, since the images are mostly wordless but tell a connected story. But let's start from the beginning. This webcomic began humbly on her Twitter account on May the 12th, 2020, with a very simple drawing of a girl in a nun's habit being lazy. The drawing, titled Lazy Girl, didn't get much attention. It had a simple style with darker, less detailed coloring than her current comics. No one knew what the future held. Diva posted another drawing the next day, and the next, gradually creating a kind of story. It was about this girl who didn't want to study, doesn't want to eat her vegetables, and just wants to play with other girls, while also getting into mischief like breaking vases or dropping food on the priest in the convent. Remember this moment, because it won't be the last time the priest has it rough. Eventually, new, recognizable characters were added, even though they all wear nun habits. The art style and coloring also evolved, becoming more appealing and adopting a more Western cartoon style. This continued until the characters, their personalities, relationships and story arcs were established. The arcs are stories that focus on one character, a parent or a specific setting, often fun and heartwarming, but sometimes sad. Seriously, this manga has some pretty mature, bittersweet moments that just make it better, showing Diva's storytelling genius. The premise is simple. Little Nuns takes place in a humble convent in a rural town of a fictional English-speaking country, apparently set in the 1940s or 50s, judging by the cars and objects like old cameras and record players. It could be called a slice-of-life manga, showing the adventures and misadventures of the nuns living there, or they form bond stories in a world full of charming, adorable characters. While many stories center on childhood pranks and games, the plot expands to include adults, both inside and outside the convent, along with secondary characters and even filler. Honestly, I'm not even sure you can call it filler. Every panel is fantastic, even if it's not part of a bigger arc. Once Diva introduced arcs, the story became more linear, focusing on a character's past and origins, touching on more serious themes without losing its original charm. Also, every character is physically recognizable due to a key feature, like the Simpsons silhouettes, where you can already sense a character's personality and intentions by their appearance and body language. This comic doesn't use dialogue. It's one chapter per day, along with description from Diva. Before I introduce the characters, I should note that Diva is Japanese. She didn't know much about Western culture at first, but she showed a strong interest in it. Her English and Spanish were pretty basic initially, with some grammatical errors, and yes, she acknowledged her Hispanic audience, which we'll talk about later. At first she didn't know much about Romaji, Western letters, or even Anglo-Saxon names, so she asked her fans to give names to the nuns. But the fandom already assigned names based on their personalities and traits, which she then made official. One of the strengths of this comic is how easy it is to read, since it's all on Instagram, Twitter, or Diva's official website, links in the green letters. Let's talk about the characters. I'll try to avoid spoilers since the chapters I mention aren't tied to major arcs. Clumsy, the clumsy nun. Clumsy is the main character, or at least that's what Diva says, since the story doesn't have a defined protagonist. As her name implies, she's very clumsy, causing accidents that are often funny but sometimes problematic. She never acts out of malice and is always friendly. Clumsy is pure happiness and love, She cares about everyone and always tries to stay positive, even in tough moments. She's sensitive and emotional too. Her mentor is the strict nun, whom she shares a strong bond. Like many nuns, Clumsy is an orphan, or at least her parents are unknown since she was abandoned at the convent as a baby. So she considers all the nuns and any friend as her family. She's funny, a little silly, and doesn't like studying. The Lazy Girl episode is about Clumsy, radiating cuteness and love, unlike Froggy, who is the fan favourite and sometimes seen as the protagonist. Froggy, or Frog. Froggy is the nun who steals the spotlight in many episodes. She is the chaotic convent gremlin. She has some of the best episodes, acting impulsively and causing chaos. If there were power levels, Froggy would be among the top 3. Her defining trait is her love for frogs and all things green. The official mascot of Little Nuns is ducks, but Frog insists that frogs are better, and she even fights to prove it. She is 8 years old while Clumsy is 11. Froggy is arrogant, capricious and proud, but not bad-hearted. She has a strong sense of justice and loyalty to her friends, especially Sheep, who is the opposite of her sometimes, and often limits her power level. She also leads a dangerous gang called the Ribbit Gang, wearing green and sometimes using inventions made by sheep. She's an expert with animals, not being afraid of them or insects, having grown up on a farm, and even owns some pets who are cute but not as cute as frogs, like an ostrich whom she rides sometimes. Froggy isn't just a character, she is a family and a feeling, the Ribbit Gang. Her past arc is one of the most tear-jerking and beautiful in the manga. Not everything is games and jokes, however. There's also pain, but there is also love. Strict Nun. Strict is my favourite character, for her design, personality and strong development. Her arc, in my opinion, is the best in the manga, even better than Froggy's. She is Clumsy's mentor and takes rules very seriously, considering the fact that she has to take care of her and be the teacher of some of the most problematic nuns, but at least she's not Froggy's mentor. Initially, she seems like the typical adult who ruins fun, but she's actually the most maternal and caring nun, especially towards Clumsy, who is like a younger sister to her. Although she has a strong and aggressive character, she is the first to help the little ones and even acknowledge her mistakes in anger. One thing about Little Nuns is that it shows that adults also make mistakes, or sometimes do very bad things, but there can be redemption and friendship through dialogue and forgiveness, at least for certain things. She has a rivalry with Smug, another nun who challenges her constantly. They seem like enemies but are actually friends who won't admit it, trying to outdo each other constantly. Like everything in this comic, it seems funny until you see the relationship in detail. Spicy. As her name suggests, Spicy loves hot food and Mexican culture. She's the smartest among the girls, showing problem-solving skills and cooking talents, and she is also an exceptional artist. She's the only character who also speaks Spanish and tries to teach it to the other nuns, often using Spanish words or Mexican aesthetics. Diva even tweeted in Spanish sometimes, practicing and thanking her Latin audience. Spicy is Clumsy's roommate and opposite in personality. While Clumsy and Froggy aren't malicious, Spicy sometimes uses her genius for trickery, like selling gossip or creating a cookie bank, the convent's unofficial currency, designed by her just for her own benefit. The adults gave the cookies to the girls after going to an annoying class like maths, so she took advantage after realizing that they were valuable, creating a gang that does not follow justice like the Ribbit Gang. Her schemes usually fail, and she is reprimanded by Star, the most powerful nun in the manga. She is mischievous and shy, but not evil. It's hard for her to speak with people whom she does not know personally, and she has a cat named Pepper. I could go on for hours about the characters, but I want you to discover them yourselves. You can read character descriptions in the manga on Diva's site, though Twitter and Instagram have more complete chapters. This webcomic has been running for 4 years without a hiatus, except for Diva's designated rest days. It recently celebrated its anniversary and currently has over 1,490 episodes at the time of this recording. The holiday arc this year stars the priest. Priest is usually stoic and intimidating, but he suffers due to the girls' mistakes and lack of common sense. He seemed like a filler character until Diva announced an arc about his childhood. Grab your tissues. Fun fact, he has a second nickname given by the fandom, Leon, because he looks like Leon from the movie wearing dark round glasses and the fact that he has to take care of little girls. Diva is extremely professional, probably working full-time on 3 Manga Plus extra dailies, except for a few rest days, her mother's birthday, visiting her niece, or being sick. But she even uploads art on rest days if she missed a date in her monthly schedule. This is quite a comfortable workspace for any mangaka. She's funded by Patreon, not tied to publishers, and focuses on a Western audience. She has full creative freedom without editorial pressure, cancellations, or forced changes. This is something that does not apply to her case, although that does not mean that publishers are inherently bad, since the manga and anime industry is ultimately commercial. But we do have to acknowledge the exploitation of the manga industry, also the ups and downs of signing a contract, giving the rights of your work. I think Diva chooses not to overly commercialize her series, because she has not made collaborations with publishers or other companies, only the books financed by Kickstarter. I can't recommend this webcomic enough, and I don't know why it isn't more popular. She's received exposure and fan art from other artists, like the funny but controversial Kailuri, also from Popaboka, the controversial creator of the Blind Girl comic. Other artists like Iron Lily have made fan arts related to Little Nuns, and she likes them, following those artists on Twitter, maintaining a family-friendly tone on social media, while handling mature, darker themes in a manga in a very sophisticated way. Although this could be considered a manga for kids, most of her audience are adults. It's because a children's story that can only be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. That's a quote from C.S. Lewis, the creator of the Chronicles of Narnia. Diva was also praised by parents since their children love their drawings and books. She sells hard copies of the books on Amazon and other stores funded by Kickstarter. Actually, this background is the cover of the first book, which compiles the comics and extra content. I suppose she wants to make an anime, and I hope that it becomes a reality, and you can see some animations on her YouTube channel and Twitter. However, it's not the same as funding a Kickstarter book, since it's too expensive, and it would likely not come soon. Also, I have to address the fact that Little Nuns doesn't preach religion. It's just cute girls doing cute things, though there are occasional reminders that the characters are clergy, like Easter and Christmas specials, or panels showing them praying or reading the Bible. It's similar to anime featuring shrine maidens or Miko and similar religious figures. Finally, while this isn't a video about video games using my usual dark humor, my channel is about games, comics, and niche entertainment, or anything that comes to mind. Also, I don't want to swear or insult while speaking about a beautiful and manly manga. I usually joke that this is a soap opera for alpha males. Kids read Chainsaw Man, while men read Little Nuns, so turn off the football since it's nun time. And yes, that's a joke. Sometimes I criticize other fandoms, and mostly a joke or exaggeration unless otherwise stated. I have no issue with the Chainsaw Man, and above all, I wouldn't be a true fan if I made fun of other fandoms using Little Nuns. Little Nuns isn't about that, and that's why it's so special to me. I got behind on this video because of depression, but I feel better now and I will try to upload more often. My goal is 100 subscribers by January, so comment to feed the algorithm. Have you read Little Nuns? Do you know a similar comic or artist? What's your favourite webcomic, and especially your favourite nun? Maybe I'll talk more about webcomics in the future, since I don't want to cover manga for now. Remember, Desam loves you all equally.